Why are some moms so bitter and angry towards child-free, childless women? I think sometimes it's the belief that, because child-free women have not made the same choices as the mom, she identifies them as other, and feels their very existence is a challenge to her own life choices. Especially today, when otherness is such a loaded topic. Aggressive distrust and a need to feel superior fuel this irrational comparison of selves. I think sometimes it's jealousy, like some people have the freedom to do things they might not be able to if they had children, like, since I can't live my life, you shouldn't be able to live yours. Or some people after becoming a parent revolve their lives around their children and they can't see it any other way after. Like becoming a parent is the highest enlightenment. I had it harder than you, so I'm better. Shitty people like to gatekeep. It's that simple. Is it possible that some of those people are just not likable people? My girlfriend gets this a lot and she thinks it's one of two things. A weirdly pro-natal group of women and men, but in this case women, who can't imagine anyone not liking or wanting children and see them as there's something wrong with you as a woman if you can't have them, and B, women who realize they actually don't feel undying unconditional love for their children or regret their life choices, but society says they don't ever dare admit that, so they act self-righteous instead to mask the jealousy they feel at women who statistically have much more free time and money. To add to some of the comments, some moms who belittle these women are actually using a defense mechanism to feel better about themselves, considering that they no longer have the freedom and finances childless women often have. While it is rewarding to raise a child, many people often experience a harsh reality switch, where they are partying all their lives and suddenly they have a kid. That takes a toll on the mind, so they search for ways to feel better. And one such way is to attack the other side, which is pretty common in many of our interactions. Not just this specific situation. Sometimes it's because they regret having kids or having kids so young. They thought that it's what they are required to do. So if you don't have kids, it makes them feel like, well, why didn't you have to do this, but I did. It's not fair. I've known moms who are bitter, angry towards other women without children, and I know they kind of associate womanhood and femininity with childbearing. So when women can't or choose not to have kids, they feel kind of threatened and it's taken out on the person. It's seen as a challenge to their view on womanhood. Why no? But that's only what I know from experience. Not all thought processes are the same, so I can't really assume too heavily. I love people who know that they don't want kids and choose to remain child-free. I think that's a fantastic, self-aware stance that should be rewarded. I only take issue with the child-free crowd when they call me and my daughter gross things. I had a former friend call me a breeder, my child a crotch goblin, threatened to punt them in my own home. I think there's really a breakdown in understanding from both sides. Also, being mad at people for choosing parenthood can get out of hand fast, considering the current abortion laws. And also the simple fact that most people I know became parents accidentally. I speak only for myself, but I appreciate child-free people who don't talk to parents in a derogatory way. Hating kids is not something to be proud of. Children are people. Try saying, I hate. Insert any group of people, be it religious or ethnic, out loud in public and see where that gets you. They are jealous of the freedom child-free people have and try to act like being child-free is bad, wrong, so they feel better about themselves. I'd have to echo the lack of freedom and individuality. As a mom, I gave 100% of myself to my child and to meeting her needs. Kids get the best part of your day. By the end, you're exhausted. Missing your spouse and missing freedoms. We raised our child with no family around. So there was no dinners out, no movie dates, no midnight trips to a grocery store for snacks, etc. Your life becomes very rigid, planned, and loses spontaneity. My kid is now an adult and living her own life, and I've got my freedom back. Through good days and bad days, I'd do it all over again. But man, I missed the freedom of my youth. Because not everyone ends up happy with their life choices. So, when such a person happens to see someone else who made different life choices than she did and them being overall happier, less stressed in life, she sees it as a personal attack on her own life decisions. On top of that, she feels the need to prove to herself that those very people are somehow wrong or bad for making those other decisions, thus by extension, enforcing her belief that despite her unhappiness, she did the right thing. Basically, they don't want to admit they are maybe not as happy with their life choices as they thought they would be, so they have to attack people who made other life choices to feel better about themselves. God forbid people admit that maybe their dreams aren't necessarily all they'd imagined them to be. Better to hurt others to stay in denial, right? Note: my point also applies to the reverse scenario, of course. Because it makes the moms have to face that having kids is not the lifetime achievement they thought. It's a hatred and lack of understanding that has gotten out of hand. Child-having women were once child-free, so they often view the child-free opinion as a transition stage, something that is awaiting enlightenment, or the wisdom of age. Undermining child-free opinions of women. Oh, you don't want children? Lol, just wait. Creates upset and resentment, which often turns into aggression. Breeders. Which fuels the child-having people even more. It's a snowballing issue of polarizing views about an important life choice. Because some of them thought motherhood would be amazing and magical and fun, and then they end up fat, angry, mad, and jealous. I know people don't want to hear it, but it's the truth. I don't know, but when I tell relatives that my daughters are not interested in becoming mothers, they get angry like I'm offending their uterus. I'm breaking the generational curse. My daughters will not be forced to have children to appease anyone else. I've found men more judgmental of child-free women. I think it's because if a woman doesn't want kids, then she won't need a man at all. And what other purpose does a woman have? Mothers who are judgmental often have the same misogynistic ideas about a proper woman's role. Note that no one harasses child-free men. In my head, they're women that were never really sure if they wanted children but had them anyway. Either because of outside pressure or because they felt it was their duty as a woman. Perhaps seeing child-free women faces them with the harsh truth that they really had the option not to have kids and still live a happy and fulfilling life. So they reject and belittle them to convince themselves that they made the right decision. Edit. Slight writing corrections. A coworker, mid-late 50s F, recently asked if I, late 30s F, had any kids and got my honest answer of, no and don't want any. Never did. Her immediately response was, that's selfish. And the look on her face perfectly matched her words. She was surprised and seemed almost disgusted with my answer. When I asked why it was selfish, she said that women are put on earth to have children. Now, I've been sucked into this argument enough times to know that educating people on why women aren't broodmares isn't my job. So my final words were, I'd rather focus on people who already exist and need me in this world than bring another person into it. You can't win these type of arguments. So it's better to just walk away and let others be miserable alone. It's just conservatism. They just get angry at new stuff and want women just to be mothers. You guys are just overthinking it.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. TooAfraidToAsk is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.